So that's a principle. In general, only 2 meals a day are recommended. Third meal can be incorporated, again, from this recommendation. That doesn't mean that I've always only had 2 meals or the 3 meals, or, it doesn't mean that. It's just, this is a general principle goal that is very attainable if you do what you're supposed to do, and you eat enough. As he says here, even though the quantity eaten might be as much as 3 or even 4 meals. So yeah, you're having 2 meals, but these might be really big meals. Again, from this methodology, I understand that there's other ones. I understand that there's the eat little fruit meals all day methodology, and that's a tool that you might grab out the toolbox at some time. That's a paradigm shift in itself, to understand those things as a tool. That's a tool, as I've done that to see what it was. I've done the fruit, eating little bits of fruit all day methodology. There's definitely a time for that and a recommendation for that, but for me, this nothing beats this in terms of long-term methodology. 2 meals a day with an optional fruit meal in the morning kind of thing. Evening meal should not be eaten sooner than 5 or 6 in the afternoon. Simplicity is important. Avoid mixing too many kinds of foods in one meal. I was able to pretty much get into that pretty early on in the transition. I was able to definitely drastically simplify what I was eating prior. Avoid fats. This gets into that kind of principle. All fats are unnatural and therefore should be avoided. But then he says, if you're going to use fats, use something like peanut butter or some other nut butter. And that's what I did. I've used things that I wouldn't recommend today, but I'll tell you that I used it because that's what I did. So I did the soy butter. They didn't have other stuff now. Now they have, you can get avocado. If you need to get like that type of butter kind of stuff, you can get the avocado based or the olive oil based, and avoid the lecithin and that. That's part of the tools and things that we'll talk about in a minute. But again, don't get lost in, it's like people really like authoritarian, like that, they want the rules. They want to be dominated by the rule. Avoid, it's like fats are evil. Just never have, just avoid them. If you have them every now and again, or even if you go into a mode where you eat it every day, who cares? It's part of the transition. Just understand it's not optimal, and you can feel it as you start to clean yourself up, and then you start to mess around with too many fats, too many things. You're going to feel the obstruction. You're going to notice it's a little harder to go to the bathroom. You'll notice that you might start getting a little puffy or retain water or any number of other kinds of things if you start to overdo it. But there's the famous discussion of Brother Air, who had the peanut butter and jelly on toast for several years, a number of years into practicing the diet. And so and he would never eat anything like that now, 40 years into practice, and he's on a whole different level. But there's something to be said about allowing yourself. See, some people, they're not allowing themselves to transition.